Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So for today's video we're going to read through Guru by RuPaul. So I ordered this book this week and it came the next day, thanks Amazon. And I read through it in like 2 evenings because it's super easy to read. But I thought it might be quite a nice video to do as I've done a few drag race colouring videos. So I thought it'd be cool to read through this together. Now, I've made the mistake of leaving my bedroom door open, so you may hear cats coming in and pattering around. There's someone pattering around my feet now, but hopefully they'll behave. I'm doing soft spoken today instead of whispering as I've had a bit of a cold this week, so I'm still feeling a bit congested, so hopefully you can't tell too much. Okay, let's begin. I don't think we'll get through the whole book, but we'll see where we get to. I think that is beautiful, that page, super sparkly. Okay, so the foreword is by Jane Fonda. I was so honoured when my friend RuPaul Charles asked me to write a few words for his new book, Guru, which you now have in your hands. Like you, I have witnessed all the beauty and power that is RuPaul, but I've been lucky enough to experience this in person, most recently when Ru asked me to present him with his star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame earlier this year. That was a very special day for both of us. RuPaul reminded me that seeing me as Barbarella on the cover of Life magazine had been an early inspiration for him. I was touched, as one always is when you hear that you've inspired someone. But it is truly wonderful when the person you inspired is someone who has inspired so many themselves. RuPaul has touched millions in his 3 decades in the public eye. He has done this by being who he really is, but finding the best and most powerful version of that person was a journey. In this book, RuPaul presents parts of his journey in words and photographs. Here he tells you what he thinks about his craft, his past, his loved ones, his team, meditation, and how to work through darkness and find the light. Now, I must say, I read this foreword and I thought it was going to be a bit of a biography, but it's really not. It's just sort of a series of quotes. So I was a bit disappointed, but it's still a good read. With depth, intelligence, and always humour, RuPaul shares the gift of himself in the pages of this book, just as he does on the set of his groundbreaking show, on his podcast, and in all of his work and life. As I said in my introduction of him at the Hollywood Walk of Fame, his star should be 3 times larger than the rest. I say that because I truly believe that RuPaul's heart and his accomplishments are 3 times larger than almost anyone's I know. It is a pleasure to know him, and Guru is a pleasure to read. I hope you'll enjoy it as much as I do. So the introduction. Everybody say love. Welcome to the house of Mama Ru, my beautiful child. Here we will explore the path of the seeker, the one who dares to feel more, to experience more, and to fearlessly love more. Together we will uncover ancient sacred realness that is tried, tested, and found true. I will share everything I've learned from the journey thus far. My only wish is that you pass the knowledge along to the next traveller, even if that traveller is me. Guru is a collection of mantras, sayings, and touchstones that I've used throughout this surreal daydream of a life to remind me of who I really am. I am a shapeshifter whose only mission is to experience humanity. It's as simple as that, but as questions arise, the need to go deeper beckons. I continue to walk through my fears, superstitions, and self-imposed limitations, some with more trepidation than others, but still I keep on walking. Think of Guru as an additional GPS to be used in support of your own built-in navigation system. How does drag factor into all of this? Well, I'm sure you've heard me say, you're born naked and the rest is drag. In truth, you are not your clothes, you are not your profession. You are not your religion. Oh, let's get it back into focus. You are an extension of the consciousness that guides the universe for which there is no name because it cannot be defined. That's why all the superficial things you list as your identity are in reality your drag. Years ago, when I heard someone say, "We're all God in drag," I knew it to be true at my core. Just know that by stepping through this door, a lot of things you thought to be real will be challenged. Basically, prepare for your mind to be blown. Not to worry though, kiddo, this is the new normal for the seeker. Budget in plenty of occasions for the death and rebirth of ideas and concepts. Drag is the highest form of being, of showing our best selves to the world. But we have to learn how to love ourselves, and there are a lot of you out there who need some lessons on how to do just that. I say love yourself all the time, but knowing how to go about it can be a mystery. Now listen to me, it's still an ongoing process for me. The key is to remember to keep yourself up and to keep on walking. Don't worry about what lies ahead or if you're being judged by other people. Use the frequency as your guide. I'm a living witness to the revelation that once you get rid of all the negativity in your world, everything and everyone that might be blocking you will live in the light. You will live in the light, sorry. Inside of us all is great power, creativity, and beauty. Your saboteurs may have all the same creativity and power too, and they may trick you into believing that you aren't worth your value. But when I look out at the world, when I meet my fans, what I see is pure love and gorgeousness. So what I hope the Guru will do for you is help you to see your own love and gorgeousness too, and shut out the negativity and naysayers once and for all. When I was a kid, my mother and father divorced, and my father was supposed to come and pick my sisters and me up on the weekends. There we would be, my sisters and I, sitting on the porch waiting for him, and he would not show up. We were the most beautiful kids you'd ever want to see. We really were gorgeous. And all of my time in therapy in the years since then was spent making peace with that moment when my father didn't appear, when he left us sitting there on that porch waiting for him. Time and time again, I have recreated my victimhood in my life, in love, in all kinds of storylines that made me feel the way I felt as an abandoned child. For years I built my identity around that little boy who was left behind. I didn't treat myself very kindly either, because if I was a boy who could be left behind, then why love myself, or honour my body like a temple? I had to learn to let go of that boy so I could start to love. I like to think of my body as my vehicle, my human machine. At this point I've put a lot of miles on my vehicle, and sometimes the wheel likes to turn a little bit to the left when it's raining. Your body knows when there's a storm brewing, when the vehicle needs a tune-up, and you can take that concept and apply it to every aspect of your life. When I wake up in the morning, the first thing I do is stretch, because I'm getting older and this body needs to be stretched. But after that, I get down on my knees and I pray. I pray every single morning. My prayer is very simple, but it's very powerful. It goes like this. Dear God, that's what I say, and you can use whatever you choose. Thank you. I ask that you guide my thoughts, my feelings, and my perceptions. I willingly give you all of my resentments. The act of prayer provides the human machine a method for rigging the system. We can't see ourselves, We can't see ourselves really, and spiritual practices help us remember that something else is running this whole thing. Prayer, getting down on your knees and deactivating the ego, is acknowledging that there is a presence greater than myself. It circumvents the whole system and allows for a special intervention between me and something bigger. The ego is completely silent when I'm bowing down. After I pray, I meditate. Meditation is like watching a river flowing while you are sitting on the bank. The water is your consciousness, and you can watch your thoughts pass by without judgment, allowing your body to become a transmitter, a channeling system. It doesn't matter how long you do it, 2 minutes, 30 seconds, 20 minutes. The practice can turn your body into a transmitter for a signal that magic can happen. The act of meditation and of prayer are the practices that help me reset the machine, shut down the ego, and love myself. If I had stayed in the mentality of that little boy who was left behind on that porch, I wouldn't be who I am today. I wouldn't be doing the things that I do, creating the art and living the life I have. I wouldn't have found the love I have with my husband George's, because I would still be so blocked that I would be getting in my own way constantly. We all have angels around us who want to help, but because we have free will, they cannot intervene unless we say 3 little words: please help me. You just have to be brave enough and self-aware enough and love yourself enough to ask. Clear out the blockage that keeps you playing small, keeps you listening to the negative stories in your head, keeps you in the darkness, and move forward into the light. You have the power to move on if you're willing to let go of the limited perceptions you have of yourself. You are God's gift to this world, and you are the manifestation of the power that created the whole universe. The universe always has stage directions for you if you're open, if you clear a place for it. With Guru, I challenge each of you to do a diagnostic test on your human machine. Take an objective view and ask, where are the places I am stuck? Use this book as a tool along your journey to discovering that it is no accident that you are here to experience life and humanity, and that is the joy of life. I realised that I didn't come to this planet in this beautiful body to live this beautiful life to be asleep during the whole process. I have become a seeker, and I know all of you are seekers too. Find the life you want, find all that life has to offer. Hopefully what you find here will inspire you, entertain you, and remind you not to take yourself, or anything for that matter, too seriously. That is what loving yourself is. Oh, and remember, Mama Ru loves you. So, I was really excited when I read that introduction. I thought it was going to be a really kick-ass, inspiring book, and it is to a degree, but I thought it was going to be a real guide and spiritual and everything, but you'll see what I mean. And that photo is fabulous. Every 28 years, Saturn returns to the same position where it was at your birth and presents you with challenges. My first Saturn return was horrific, humiliating and soul-crushing, but very valuable, because when it was over, I realised I had developed an emotional musculature that was tough as steel. I had learned to dig my feet into the ground as the storm passed over me, and in the end I had real strength and fortitude, and truly understood my own personal resilience. Now, 28 years later, Saturn returns again. Though less dramatic, this time it's about clearing up unfinished business. Now I'm willing to be emotionally naked and feel confident in the power that comes from just being me. I feel unafraid to reveal myself, a new level of me. It was exhausting making sure that people were okay with me. Chilly ain't nobody got time for that. If my outlook and ambition are intimidating to people, so be it. In the past, drag has stealthily allowed my true self to fly under the radar. Revealing all of the unfiltered parts of me is where I am now. Happiness is wanting what you already have. Let you get a look at the photos. Getting ready to go on stage or in front of the cameras is like preparing for battle. When I get all dolled up to film Drag Race, I'll take 6 hours. I could do it in 2, but that was my cat, sorry. But it's important for me to make it a deliberately sacred, drawn-out ritual. I have separate rooms for costumes, hair, makeup and lounging, and even a room for podcasting. The people who help me get ready, the magic team, are all filled with the same creative warrior spirit. We know the world is watching, so we want to give them something special. I thrive in a creative atmosphere. That's why if one of us is not 100%, we all have to pitch in and lift the other one up. When I'm alone, I've learned to replenish that energy through prayer, meditation and stillness. Being fully present in the moment will also get you energy. If you want to be invited to the party, you must have something to bring. everyone. I got cut off at 2 phone calls, which never happens, but there we go. Seeing myself transformed is such a trip. I've never gotten used to seeing myself in drag, or out of drag for that matter. I've always felt like the boy who fell to earth and landed in this body. I want to do as much as I can with this body while I have it. It's all about honouring this beautiful, gorgeous gift, painting it and decorating it. Why not put on your best drag every day? Put your best foot forward, even if it's just for yourself, even if it's for a trip to the grocery store or to the dry cleaners. Why not put on your best? Never pass up an opportunity to wear a fancy outfit, even if you're the only one who appreciates it. I bow down to anyone who will wear a false eyelash between the hours of 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. I bow at their feet because it is a true commitment to Glamazon, and of course extra points for lower lashes. Glamazon defined. I am truly an introvert masquerading as an extrovert. The Scorpio in me can be very intense for most people. Drag has allowed me to lighten up the same way that most people express another side of themselves when they dress up for Halloween. In between shots, I like to conserve my energy and just save it all for when the cameras are rolling. Ask yourself, who am I, really? To the human eye, proportions are everything. Most people don't realise just how much they react to proportions. I love nudging proportions. I have very long legs, a short torso, and a short neck. You'll notice that I don't put a lot of jewellery around my neck. I like to keep the neck area open and unobstructed so as to elongate it. You will also see that I take many photos with my mouth open to get the right proportion for my face. If I wear my hair flat, there is still height at the crown of the head, which elongates everything above the shoulders. It's all about nudging those proportions to get it right based on how the human eye perceives silhouettes. You must be willing to see yourself from outside yourself. I think that one is really Sex and the City. Throughout my career, I've relied on a handful of people who have always had my best interests at heart. People whom I love and trust and who can offer me a unique perspective that I can't always see on my own. Finding those people is not easy, especially in show business. The people in this photo are those people for me. The man driving this golf cart is someone I met in 1985 in Times Square at a music convention. I was wearing football, shoulder pads, a loincloth and a mohawk. Someone introduced us, and in that moment everything I dreamed was achievable in my career I saw reflected in his eyes. I could see that he was looking at a superstar. Needless to say, I've been working with Randy Barbato ever since. Stick with the ones who have vision, the ones who can not only dream it, but can also make it happen. Stick with the winners, baby. From childhood, I always felt very unique, yet I could sense that to most people I was invisible. They didn't know which box to put me in, so I think it was easier to just see past me. But then in gay male culture, if you didn't fit into any of the porn-informed stereotypes, you were seen as a eunuch whose sole purpose was to serve as an accessory. It wasn't until I got into drag for the first time that people really started to take notice. That first time, and every time since, it felt like Clark Kent turning into Superman. I felt powerful. I felt that people could finally see that I was a force to be reckoned with. Doing drag doesn't change who you are. It actually reveals who you are. I think that one's my favourite. Know who you are and deliver it at all times. You're born naked, and the rest is shading and contouring. When in doubt, go for a 3/4 pose at the camera. It's an angle that captures the best of the cheekbones, the chin line, and a long neck. A 3/4 pose generally suits most people. I've always thought of Halloween as amateur night. Just one day to dress up? Really? My philosophy has always been, why not dress up every day? Even as a kid, I rejected the concept of Halloween for that reason. I loved the candy, but hated the idea of just one sanctioned day for dressing up. As an adult, I dress up every day, except on Halloween. Don't let the weight of the world flatten your weave. Wow, is that really me? I've never quite gotten used to seeing myself in the mirror in drag or out of drag. The question, who am I, always creates a deafening silence in the soul. I believe the depth of that silence is the answer. Where do you begin and end? Who are you? What are you? I still feel like the boy who fell to earth, fell into this body, and is experiencing humanity, having fun with it. Don't be afraid of your power. See what I mean? That a lot of the messaging, not so much in the quotes, but in the actual narrative, is repeated throughout, which I found a little bit frustrating. I've been shunned by whites for being black, by blacks for being gay, and by gays for being femme. The realty, the ego needs to feel superior over others. The act of shape-shifting also includes reading the energy in the room. Protect yourself from ignorance and keep out of harm's way, and know that the hurtful things people say has everything to do with them and not you. It is simply an outward projection of their own self-loathing. Bless them, and by all means don't get your ego co-opt the situation or get involved. Part of your job as a business person and diplomat is to get what you need and not to take it too personally. There's a certain detachment sensitive people must maintain to endure the harsh realities of this world. And that's something I'm definitely yet to learn. Oh, this wonky table is getting on my nerves. Getting on my last nerve. Things aren't always as they seem. There are different levels of consciousness, different vibrations. Drag reminds us that the divisions we create to make sense of what is real and not real are all but our own little superficial illusions. Go with it and get out of the habit of trying to make sense of it all. Practice just being. A little perspective. Sachet all day, every day. My waist is ridiculously cinched and the butt is padded beyond recognition. All of this is because when wearing a traditionally men's garment in ladykins drag, one must over-feminize the body in order to keep the slacks from looking too butch. I mean, come on, a man wearing pants is going to look totally butch unless you pad that booty to high heaven. Quick reminder, having a fat ass is a good thing. I call my wigs girls. This girl is probably 25 years old and has worked really hard for me over the years, and I've worked hard to keep her in tip-top shape. They all get deglued, cleaned and conditioned regularly. Of course, she was born back before the proliferation of all the new machine-made lace front wigs that you can buy for less than $100. This girl probably paid for my house. You are cordially invited to Lace Front Manor. That's a really nice look, I think. Never underestimate the power of a smoky eye, especially if you're new to makeup and want to do something really dramatic. The first stop for drama is making sure you have on false eyelashes. For next level drama, go for the smoky eye. When there are no words, let the eyes do the talking. Health is wealth. You'll get to a certain age and realise the most valuable currency is good health. Take good care of your body and be mindful of the thoughts you think. Eventually, all of the thoughts you think will show up on your face. Think healthy thoughts. Even if you have every right to complain, don't do it. If it's raining, learn to dance in the rain. You are the architect of your life. Please believe it and let that be the reason. Your health is the most valuable thing you have. Protect it. I've been a daydreamer since day one. I much prefer looking out of a window over looking at my phone. My lips are overdrawn to compensate for my lack of giving a shit. I've heard that laughter is the most powerful spell you can cast. I'd also add that a beautiful smile is right up there too. During my 20s, I didn't take good care of my teeth and paid dearly for it in my 40s. The ones in front are my natural teeth, but all the ones in the back are implants. At the very least, floss and brush in the morning and at night. Also, a water irrigator used with mouthwash will save you a lot of misery later. Avoid dumb people. Do not try to educate them or try to prove how superior you are to them. Just smile and stay away from them. I've always loved pop culture. Irrelevant pop art, the Warhol aesthetic, magazines, album covers, fashion, David Bowie. My mind catalogued the imagery, the shapes and silhouettes. It's great to work with people who also know those references because it's a shortcut to the creative process. In fact, I prefer working with people who have that vernacular and who know the references in songwriting, movie making, television design. I'm worried that young people don't have enough curators and mentors needed to learn this language. First learn the rules, then break them. Push that back. The colour red always gets me excited. Blood red makes me feel dangerous and in the moment. Explore all the colours to see what effect they have on your energy. Use them on yourself as a conductor would command an orchestra. Use all the colours in the crayon box. Consciousness is so sexy. That's a gorgeous look on her. My drag look has had several incarnations, but the one that became my signature look was conceived by the marketing man in me. I wanted a recognisable silhouette that could be easily drawn by a caricature artist and emulated by a sketch comedy troupe. I started this process by borrowing liberally from the pop stars I admired. I took 2 parts Diana Ross, 1 part David Bowie, 3 parts Cher, and a heaping spoonful of Dolly Parton. All of those elements together created the look that made me an international star. I call it Glamazon. Genius, 1% inspiration and 99% full coverage foundation. I've always loved beautiful clothes, men's or women's, it doesn't matter, just as long as they're beautiful. I adore different textures and colours, shiny, mylar, heavy tweeds, bold prints, I love them all. Children are inherently drawn to those things, and I never lost that. My older sister reminds me all the time that I was running around the backyard in her clothes as soon as I could walk. I wasn't thinking, this is drag. I was thinking, this is fun. For me, the fun never stopped, and why should it? My first deliberately drag look was called Genderfuck. I was part of the Atlanta bohemian punk rock scene. We wore combat boots, torn dresses, and smeared lipstick, all while flipping the bird. When I moved to New York City, I needed to make money, so I took a job as a go-go dancer on the bar at the Pyramid Club. I decided to switch my look to something more approachable and tip-inducing. I chose a look somewhere between streetwalker and Soul Train dancer. Needless to say, I was a big hit. Before setting on the Glamazon, my drag aesthetic was streetwalker, Soul Train dancer, still my favourite look. I'm in total awe of the tenacity of the human spirit and equally gobsmacked by the unrelenting audacity of the human ego. I do like that quote, I think that's really cool. I've always been fascinated by space exploration. Stanley Kubrick's 2001 A Space Odyssey totally blew my mind. It opened up doorways in my consciousness that have never been closed again. The concept of other worlds is so freeing to me. Every morning I wake up 4 a.m. to stretch, pray and meditate. I can see the stars from the large sliding glass door in my bedroom. I imagine being out in space looking back at Earth. This tiny blue dot looks so peaceful from there, and all of my perceived problems don't even exist. Okay, so I think this will be the last one. When your eyeliner is on point, your life is on point. Mean Miss Charles. Okay, so we'll leave it there for today, and we will pick this up another time. Thank you for joining me, everyone. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.